Hello, fellow model railroading dummies. Today, on this week's episode, we are going to work on a pond for my model railroad. It's going to be in about 2 or 3 parts. First part, today, we're going to be working on the basic groundwork for the pond. Probably next step would be making the reeds and stuff, and then pouring the water using Woodland Scenic's new deep pour water. A product I have never used before. I hope it works. So, the products that we're going to use today are going to be mainly for the ground cover. We're going to be using some Woodland Scenics products, some ground foam, some green grass, green blend, maybe some burnt, earth blend, probably not yellow. And then ballast, we are going to be using from Arizona Rock and Mineral. We're going to be using Chicago Northwestern Santa Fe type ballast. Now, for stuff that is non-Woodland Scenics, although Woodland Scenic smiles, I've got some real nice gravel rocks here. I may put a few of them on just for a little bit of texture. I got this from some sand and stuff that I silted out using a homemade filter. Just use a drill and drill a whole bunch of holes in it to get some bigger ones. For some smaller stuff, smaller levels of gravel, I use this strainer. Now go to Walmart or wherever else you get your stuff and get your own. Don't borrow your wife's or your mother's one for your own use. You may not be model railroading for much longer if you do. So just get your own. They ain't that expensive. Finally, for our base cover for our pond, we are going to be primarily using pocket gopher dirt. Now, you may be wondering, what the heck is pocket gopher dirt? Well, I'll tell you. I live on a farm, and pocket gophers on our hayfields are not a good deal. They make these gigantic mounds of dirt in the hayfield, and when cutting that hay, especially if that mud is wet, it can be a big problem, because one gopher can make about a dozen mounds. Big mounds easily, you know, about yay tall, this bigger around, or bigger. So, when doing some pocket gopher trapping, I went out and got a great big bucket full of this nice dirt. So I figured, you know, it'd be nice. And then, using this strainer that I bought specifically for it, I strained out the majority of any hay and stuff out of it, and got a fairly nice, smallish level. Now, if you want even finer, if you have a smaller strainer, by all means use it and get an even finer level. But this is good for me. If I want finer, I'll find something else. So, that's the products we're going to be mainly using today. So, let's get to it. Okay, here we are at the section of the track that needs to be worked on. Okay. Now, obviously, this is the area here that's going to have the water. It's not going to be a whole lot, but it's going to be where it's going to be. Now, this culvert here is basically just some tin foil that was wrapped around a bolt. I got that idea from an old model railroader book, H.O. Railroad from start to finish, a 4x8 layout you can build. So that's where I got that idea from. So first of all, I carved a hole into the foam insulation board, and then I took some plaster and I formed a base for it and around the culvert, and that's where the water's going to go. Now over here there's not going to be any water because I don't want any water leaking out. But I'm going to have a lot of cattails or reed grass or whatever to make it look like the swampy ground goes through on the other side of the track. So, first of all, we're going to need to put in some ground cover. So, first of all, we are going to take some Elmer's white glue, and we're just gonna put a nice gob in from which to have a nice base with which to put our pocket gopher dirt on. Now, first I'll get a brush and brush it on before I put on the dirt. That would probably be a smarter idea. Okay, so, and I'm also going to be ballasting the track at the same time. Now, as you can see, I have sort of a staging yard in the background. It's actually on a shelf of on my bookcase in my room, because this layout, this shelf layout, it's in my bedroom. Because why not? I'm not sharing it with anyone. The space is mine. So it's actually behind the books. So be careful around here so that we ain't getting too much dirt stuck to the culvert unrealistically. And I just got a little bit on, but it should hopefully be covered by reed grass. Okay, get a little bit back in here. Okay, I'm gonna need a little bit more glue. So I'm gonna get this side of the road bed, which is just some cork road bed. But the only part of the layout that actually has cork road bed. Most of the area is actually in town, so I didn't really need much for road bed. Up along here you want it fairly thick to hold the ballast. At least that's my theory. It'd be better to have a little bit more than a little less. To help hold. Because what we're going to do is we're going to put the ballast in 2 stages. It's going to have a sort of a light layer in here. Try not to get too much on the ballast ties. I'm just going to make sure it's nice and rough. Okay, that is looking pretty good. Okay, now what's the step for the pocket gopher dirt? Okay. Now I just got a little plastic spoon here for applicating the stuff. So just sort of lightly sprinkle it on. And most of this is going to be covered in with either reed grass or really dirty water, so it doesn't need to be perfect. Just get a nice good covering. Oh. As I say that, I spill. So there you are. I'm human. I'm not a super modeler. I spill. I also cut my fingers with hobby knives. I did that last night. Yeah. When your finger's smart, it means you're not being very smart. It was a new hobby blade. Of course. I've got my mother's curse. Only hers is with cooking. Gets a new knife or sharpens it, then she cuts herself with it. Yeah, I'm just like it. It's really annoying. So I got some on the culvert, but we'll just brush that off before we put the scenic cement, aka watered down white glue. Okay, there. That one was a little bit more careful. There we're getting it. Very nice layer on there. It's really hard. I mean, this area is kind of off the layout, so to speak. So not a lot of people see it. Besides the fact that not many people see it anyways, but still, I'm gonna see it. That's what counts. This is a hobby. Nothing has to be perfect. This is supposed to be fun. If you're not having fun, it's not a hobby. I mean, obviously cutting your finger isn't fun, but that's just part of the fun, if you could call it that. Challenge. Okay, now I'm going to get me a brush to kind of brush things off a little bit. There. Thanks to video editing, you didn't have to wait too long. Because I wasn't smart enough to realize, you know, you may need another paintbrush, but no, I didn't think of it. Okay. That looks good. Now, I think we'll go for some ground cover now. So, I think what we'll start with is Woodland Scenic's Earth Blend. This is sort of a tannish color. Be sort of a base coat. I mean, this is going to be swampy area, but I just want to get a nice base cover. Doesn't have to be real heavy, just there for a little bit of variety. Okay, didn't need much of that. Okay, next I think we'll go with green grass. Fine, of course. Okay, we're going to use a little bit more of this. Just, you know, swampy area, it's getting moisture. I mean, my layout is, I'm tentatively putting it in the fall. Actually, not more than tentatively. It is late September, early October. That's the goal. So, I mean, then of course a lot of this stuff will be covered by the cattails, because I really want to look I'm looking for is a very swampy grass type look. So okay, now I'm going to get some in the pond area itself to get that look of weedy type, really algae messy stuff. Okay, now I think for our final color, and our main color will be Woodland Scenic's Green Blend. Because that gives you a nice color. It is my favorite one of all the colors. If I can only have one color, this is the one I'd have. This has a nice variety. And this is the one that will have on top to hopefully tie everything in once again to get a little bit in. That was a little bit more than I wanted. I can always come back with a little bit more. Okay. There. I think that's the look I'm looking for. Okay. Now I think we're going to do some ballasting. Okay, now this is going to be a little bit more delicate work. So I'll take just a smaller portion to have a little bit more control over it. Just sort of slowly bring it in. Not a heavy coat, but just enough so that when I actually do the main coat, I just realized I got paint on the rail back there. Good to know. I'm gonna be careful around this turn out there, because I mean, it's not gonna matter if it's not ballasted. That's the turnout into the somewhat staging yard. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm gonna use a 1-inch foam brush and knock it off the rail heads so that I don't accidentally glue it on them. With those two pieces of track in position. Okay, now I'm gonna just fix up that mistake I did with on the far end of the pond. And once again, I'm human. I just spilled it into the dirt into the ballast. Brilliant. But I do like how it kind of really looks like a totally different look in the back there where I had spilled all that ground foam on. Just putting a little bit of dirt really made it look nice, I hope. Now, before we glue it in with some watered down white glue, I'm going to get some of this nice rocky bouldery-ish type stuff. Okay, just a little of this is going to go a long ways. Most of this probably won't be seen anyways, but I want just enough to get just a teensy incy bit of texture. Okay, just going to feel for some smaller pieces now, right on the edge where it's more likely to be seen. See, teensy bit, and I get a bigger piece. Okay, I think that's plenty. Probably too much, you'll probably think, but hey, who cares? I'm a dummy. Okay, now we're going to need a wetting agent to put this in. And I'm using 70% isopropyl alcohol. It helps to spread the glue. So I'm using a pipette to put it on. You don't want to wash this stuff away, so we're just going to start up here. This is one of the reasons why I want to get that ballast off the rails. That's where I'm starting to put the glue and the isopropyl alcohol. Because otherwise, if you just blast the stuff on, you're going to end up with craters, and it's not going to look nice if you have a whole bunch of meteor craters all over your layout. Okay, you can see how it's starting to work its way down. Okay, get way back here where it's not likely to be seen. Let gravity do most of the work. I think I need a bigger pipette, but this is the only one I got. Okay, right along the edge here. Sorry about the camera jiggle. Once again, there's barely room for me in here, let alone a camera. Yeah, this episode is going to be more how to model railroad around with your arm around a camera. I'm actually behind the camera. Because there's only one place to do this and film. The way I figured if I can handle filming this first episode behind a camera like this, I should be set for a I should really become really good at this. I hope. This is not only just model railroading for dummies. This is filming a model railroad for dummies. Yeah, I'm using these rocks as naturally they don't blast away. So now you notice how they kind of pooled up there when that little drip came down, sort of balled up. That's one thing that's one of the main reasons why you want to have a wetting agent. It's even worse with glue. Which is why if you're gonna go you always want to try and get this isopropyl alcohol in wet areas that you've already done. This is far less likely to ball up or blow away. Okay, we're nearly done. Fortunately, because my arm's getting tired. But unfortunately, we still gotta put the glue on. Fortunately, probably shouldn't take too long. Okay, I think that's every spot. Now you can either use Woodland Scenic cement, or you can make your own. Basically, just fill a bottle half full of Woodland Scenic's white glue and 50% and water. And then usually what I do is, well actually what I've done, not usually because I've only done it once, I put a little marble or something in the bottle, sort of like in a paint can, so it helps mix the glue when you shake it, because you gotta make sure that this stuff is well mixed. Once again, I'm going to start up here. I want to work on your highest ground first, so gravity can do a lot. Hopefully what little ballast I do have up here it will be a nice firm toothy grip for when I do the main coating of ballast. At least that's what the experts say, so who am I to say? I'm just a dummy. Oh man, my arms are getting tired. At least with the alcohol mix in there already, you can pretty much spread it. It dissolve is what you can pretty much put it about anywhere. Just make sure on the hillsides it gets its fair share of glue. Fortunately, with the full strength, almost white glue spread on the bottom, if you happen to miss a spot, the alcohol should hopefully help spread the that glue in amongst the granules of dirt and foam and whatnot. Okay, I think that's most of it. I'll go use up most of the glue. I'm putting the glue in basically the cap, so I got a little bit, so it doesn't take as long to. Not only that, I'm getting low, so you can't reach to the bottom of the thing anyways. Okay, I think that's good. So now I'm going to do the same type of thing on this side over here. And the next time we can start putting in the reeds. Okay, that's it for today. And boy, am I glad it's done. My arm is tired. So, next week we will continue on with some reed grass. And so, until then, work on your monorails, even if it doesn't look great. Work on it. Practice. The great monorailers didn't get there overnight. They probably had a lot of mistakes like we did. So, this dummy is speaking to you, monorail dummies out there. Get out and do it. Until next time, keep your train on the tracks.